Good morning, all you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
I'm Stacey.
It's Wednesday, December 14th, and here's why today is strange.
All right, so let's start off with the story from Notre Dame in Paris.
Notre Dame.
Yes, so this is the story that's continuing on about the archaeologist who revealed those two sarcophagi.
The what?
The archaeologist.
Okay, archaeologist?
Yes, isn't that what I said?
It is.
Okay. They revealed two sarcophagi.
That's the coolest kind of guys.
That they found underneath
Sarcophagi.
the floor when they were doing some preventative archaeological research before they do the restoration of the cathedral.
Preventative restoration
That's
research
what France
before
is?
they do...
Before they do any kind of reconstruction, they wanted to do an archaeological dig under the floor.
They look for bones before they tear it down.
France's National Institute of Preventative Archaeological Research said in a news release, because they finally, once they found the sarcophagi, they found them like months ago in April, and they sent them off and they've been studying them, and they just did a news release about what they found in the coffins. They found two lead coffins.
One of them have a hunchback?
No, I was hoping. Fingers crossed. Now, the two people that were buried there are actually not buried at the same time. They were quite spread apart. Now, the first one belonged to a man named Antoine de Laporte, who died on Christmas Eve in 1710. He very conveniently had a plaque on his coffin, so it was easy to figure that one out. They say that he died at the age of 83, and during his life, he helped pay for the choir in the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Wow.
So he was a very important person, obviously, to be buried, because they were buried right in the cathedral where it makes a cross pattern. A lot of Catholic churches do that. So it must have been a very important person.
Sure, he met a lot of choir boys over the years.
Now, the other coffin, they claim, may date back to the 14th century. And they don't really know who's in it. They said that there's no way to really tell. They've nicknamed him Le Cavalier.
Why?
Like a knight.
Yeah.
They claim that analysis of his pelvic bones suggests he was a horseman.
Does it?
It does.
Kind of spread apart a little bit.
They've claimed, now, there isn't a lot of organic material left because there were holes in the coffin, so a lot of it, wasn't preserved that well. But, and this is the part you're going to see in a lot of very sensationalized headlines, the illustrious stranger, they say, likely suffered from a chronic disease that destroyed his teeth, and he had a skull deformation. Turns out it was caused, they say, by wearing a head wrapping as a baby.
Oh.
He had an elongated skull.
Did
A knight with an elongated skull buried under the floor at Notre Dame from the very early on. Nobody knows who he is. Isn't that strange?
So, the cathedral
Yes.
at Notre Dame has a elongated, really.
Yeah. And I picked this particular article because...
You know how crazy that is?
It is. This is the only article I could find that didn't start with a headline that said, "Knight with elongated skull found under Notre Dame." Like, I picked this one because they were trying to downplay it.
Listen. I don't care about the Knigget thing, okay? So what? He's a knight, he's not a knight. No one cares.
He rode a lot of horses.
It don't matter. Okay, unless he's in a full suit of armor and a sword. And
right.
From the 1300s, I highly doubt that his armor was that great, But the fact that he had an elongated skull begs the question. Not a lot of Europeans wrapping the baby skull back then.
Right.
Don't see a whole lot of artwork depicting our little children's
with the elongated
skulls. Had I been from Ethiopia, maybe somewhere, where they guard the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
I would be okay with the fact. Even Argentina. Somewhere like that. But not under the cathedral at Notre Dame. I would imagine things like, I don't know, the bones of Rollo. I mean...
right. You'd expect priests and things to be buried under there.
Yeah.
Saints or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very strange. And I really liked this article because there's like, paragraph after paragraph of the first gentleman. They knew who he was, and he had a flower crown, and there was remnants of dried leaves in his, and they just went on, and there's just this little tiny paragraph about
Flower crown.
Yeah, on the guy they knew. Apparently they buried him with like a flower crown. I guess it was a thing. I don't know. But they only gave the one little tiny paragraph about, the strange guy. And, oh, by the way, he had the skull deformation. But that was just from, when he was a baby and they bound his head.
Just from him being a star child.
That's all. So very interesting find. Very interesting.
Okay, listen. I know enough about Europeans to also know, normally when a baby's born with an elongated skull, we throw him in the basement.
Maybe he was the ding ding.
Well, oh my God. It was based on this deformed little kid.
Maybe he was the bell ringer.
Maybe he's one of the choir boys' kids. Maybe they all go together.
Well, it was quite a difference in age there. The other guy didn't live till the 1700s.
Tommy-wimey.
So, yes, true. All right, well, let's move on. So let's talk about the JFK assassination. So there's a reporter that claims to have uncovered smoking gun proof linking Oswald to the CIA.
Oh, you don't say.
I don't say. So as a leading investigator into the JFK assassination, his name is Jefferson Morley. He claims the CIA holds documents showing Oswald was involved in an intelligence operation in the summer of 1963, about 3 months before Kennedy's murder. Now, he claims this was during an event where he claimed that they're talking about smoking gun proof of a CIA operation involving Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, it came at a press conference for the Kennedy assassination investigators that includes a sitting federal judge, and it was organized by the Mary Farrell Foundation. Now, we've talked about them recently because they are the ones that hired a lawyer and sued President Biden and the National Archives for not releasing all of the documents like they claimed they were supposed to. Now, they didn't show any of his smoking gun proof. I'm not sure. He said that they were based, his whole theory here is based on files created by the late CIA agent George Joanides, who worked with anti-Castro exile groups. And he says that 44 more documents are still being retained by the agency that could offer more evidence about the operation. Now, to my eyes, I haven't seen any original evidence of this. This is just what he's saying that he claimed at this press conference. Now, it goes right along with the fact that last October, President Biden did order them to go over the files again and gave them a date of tomorrow, December 15th, to release whatever they think that they could release. Now, in conjunction with this press conference,
they know he won't remember.
There was this article in Politico, and according to Politico, some internal correspondence and emails from the National Archives were provided to them by Larry Schnapf. I don't know how to say his last name. It's like NPF Schnapf. It's a weird name. He's a New York lawyer, and he's the one that filed the lawsuit for the Mary Farrell Foundation. And they did a FOIA request and got a bunch of internal correspondence from the National Archives with the CIA and the FBI. And they listed out some reasons that they're giving to why they haven't declassified some of those documents. It's about 14,000 documents still have not been declassified and released. Now, according to the internal correspondence, and even the lawyer admitted that the National Archives has been trying really hard. They've been really persistent and really trying to get the CIA and the FBI to release these documents. They just haven't. But they claim that in a lot of the cases, the CIA and the FBI pressed to keep them secret because, of course, they contain names and personal details of still living intelligence and law enforcement informants from that time. Now, they're older. They're probably close to death, but they claim that a lot of them are foreigners that live outside the United States and can't be protected from threats. So they don't want to release that information because those people are probably still living.
Wait a second. Mm-hmm. If they are living, they're on borrowed time.
That's what it says. It says now elderly, if not close to death. I mean, but I think there are still, they claim there are still some that are out there. The correspondence.
to make it as far up in the agency by then, let's just say they were 30.
Right. Yeah, they're on in age.
90 years old, right?
I think so. Something like that, yeah.
I don't think they care.
Probably not. The correspondence also shows that why a lot of the classified...
I don't give a damn. I'm right here.
Why a lot of the still classified information is indirectly related to the assassination. Some of it came directly from the FBI's main investigative case files. And you're looking at identity of informants in organized crime investigations. And those things they withheld from the public because it's organized crime and they don't want to release that
And it was
information.
the same people that were the names of the FBI.
Yeah. It says...
it was a really strange day. It's kind of like when they're like, here's the list of the kidnappers of the governor, and here's the FBI. Oh.
It says of the nearly 7,500 documents that the FBI kept classified, this was back in the 2017 deadline, 6,000 of those were from various files of members of organized crime or La Cosa Nostra. So they don't want to release any of that organized crime information because they feel like that would just spur violence in the organized crime industry. So I don't know. Those are their main reasons.
Spur violence in that obviously south of the border crime family?
Right.
Highly doubtful.
This is just...
Very peaceful people.
They're just trying to, give reasons for why they're not going to release them. But there is a new deadline of December 15th tomorrow, so I guess we will see. I don't think that even if they do release them, there's going to be anything crazy. But of course, the one reporter at that press conference claims that there could be smoking gun evidence.
So, all right. Let's say they give them a choice.
Right.
You guys come out and finally admit that you killed JFK. Mm-hmm. And admit to why. Mm-hmm. You know why it was. There's a few different reasons. Everybody that wants to push their narrative has a damn thing that JFK said in the week leading up to his death.
He did a lot of stuff that week.
Oh, he was off the wall, baby. I'm going to release all the UFO knowledge. I'm going to hammer Marilyn Monroe in the butt.
He's going to take down organized crime.
I'm going to take down organized crime. I'm going to place a curse on the Boston Red Sox. I'm going to listen, obviously, I jest about Marilyn. But I have heard a lot of different things that were thrown about that, they would have killed JFK about,
Yes.
Probably had Nikola Tesla's last stuff, he was going to... The biggest one, other than actual political things, has been a lot of the UFO things, right? That's been one of the big ones. But he just rocked the boat, apparently. He just did a lot of things they didn't much care for.
Right,
But he actually wanted to take down the Fed and will not let the Fed... Not let the banking have power as it was getting, and the government was starting to do the things that kind of like that thing Eisenhower said at the end. Like, you some bitches are in trouble. Certain things shouldn't copulate. And there's a lot of copulation happening. And that's not an exact quote. In fact, it's nowhere near the quote.
It's not. It's a very strong paraphrase.
You get my drift, okay? He was one of those guys. Didn't matter what side of the aisle you were on. He was our guy. He was a superhero. And what happens to superheroes? Well, it's the real world. They get killed and covered up. Normally.
Yes.
But this one is crazy. So the choice is we're going to release all the JFK stuff, or we're going to go ahead and finally say, yes, we've been in contact with UFOs forever. Oh, you knew it. Yeah. Which one would you do? If you had to, and you're snidely whiplash, that
I think I would have to choose to, if I was them, release the JFK files. I feel like the backlash on that
You still think it's less than the UFO
would be
stuff?
less than the UFO stuff.
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I think at this point you could say anything about UFOs because they've already tested those waters, right? And they can stick their toes in the water. Some people don't even talk about it. Some people do, and they still kind of joke about it. And it's still one of those things that's not real unless you see it.
I suppose you could justify like if it came out that we knew about UFOs, that we allowed them to do abductions and things like that, I guess you could justify that with we didn't have a choice.
Or
they're aliens.
Those guys are dead now. That's why we're letting you know.
Right. Well, that wasn't us.
They could do the same thing theoretically with the JFK.
I guess.
But that one implies what everybody already knows about our government.
I suppose. And then,
if that one's true,
right,
all these other ones
are probably true.
Guess what, kids?
Very true. All right, let's move on.
Okay. If I didn't say okay,
I would just stare at you till you did. Want to test it?
no.
Okay, good. All right, so let's talk about this discovery.
Don't ever do that again.
No, do you remember? Do you remember when we were doing that story about the Indian Ocean? They found all the really cool new fish in the bottom of the ocean. They were doing that survey near Australia, and they had all the really crazy looking fish. Well, during that same bit of research in the same area, they found a shark graveyard full of fossilized teeth, some of them millions of years old.
Like, are sharks burying their own?
No, they're just calling it a shark graveyard.
Oh.
So they pulled up
I thought you had like something
net.
crazy.
They pulled a net up off the floor,
They
and
stayed
initially
behind a rock and waited. And that's when they saw Jabberjaw bringing it in.
They pulled up a net full of what they
It was like elephants.
thought
It was just nuts.
Disappointing
Seems like
sediment.
they remember each other too. They cry.
Okay, so they pulled up a net of what they thought was some disappointing sediment. It turned out to be 750 mineralized teeth, shark teeth, that represented a range of the predatory species, all hauled up from a depth of 3 miles. A range of different sharks, different ages, some newer, but some going back like 450 million years, like a whole range of shark teeth in this one area.
I could open the biggest beach shop ever.
It's amazing. It's like they said so many of them, of the remains spanning such a long period of history, were gathered in one place. They have no idea why. They claim that it could just be the obvious explanation. Maybe this is the deepest part, and eventually all the teeth, because when a shark dies, it's all cartilage and skin. Everything.
So just shark teeth have the buoyancy that just they're the only ones that are going to slide down there?
No, I mean like currents or something. I don't know. They're just throwing a theory out there.
They can't explain that.
No, they can't explain it.
You'd be just as likely to find a big pile of dildos down there.
They even found.
Insane.
They said they found some from the immediate ancestor of the megalodon. Some of the shark teeth were that old. And they have no idea how they got all together there in that one space, because that's all that's left of a shark after it dies, is what I was going to say. Like the cartilage in the skin, it, deteriorates and decays, and all you have left is the shark teeth.
So something's killing sharks and taking...
to that one spot, and then...
There is one crazy octopus out there.
Well, it is outside of Australia, so...
That's really, really...
Isn't that very strange?
Well, no, that's insanely strange. That is one of the strangest things I've ever heard.
It's very crazy. And there's a picture, which I've probably already shown, of all the teeth lined up. There's just, it was crazy. Just one net full. All those teeth.
So there could be more down there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They obviously didn't get everything on that
No,
one pull.
I wouldn't think they got them all in the one pull. There could be all kinds of them down there. I just think that's amazing. All right. Are you ready to move on?
Oh, my God. Do you think sharks have tooth fairies?
It's the shark tooth fairy deposit. I don't know. I'm not in communication with shark family.
And I wonder what they get back under their pillows.
I don't know. Little fish?
Maybe. All right.
All right. So let's move on. So let's talk about this story from Amsterdam about a substitute teacher at a childcare organization who is possibly going to be arrested for forcing his children at the primary school to watch horror films when he was substituting. So the horror films that were shown were The Exorcist and District 9.
How old? You said horror films.
Horror films, yes. The kids were between the ages of 7 and 9. And he would play them in the room while they were eating. But they said the school claims, I'm sorry, this is a translated article, so it's the English is a little wonky. The school claims that he would have a different tab on his computer of an educational film or like the Pink Panther. And if an adult came to the room, he would switch it. But then he would switch it back to the horror movie that clearly he just wanted to see, I guess. And some of the kids were really disturbed. They would run out in the hallway crying. They went home and he tried to tell them not to tell their parents. And they would go home and have nightmares and tell their parents. Some of the kids have even regressed to wetting their beds again because they were so scared of the movies. So he's obviously been fired. And they have no idea why he did it. His purpose. And no one's been arrested yet, but they believe that there are going to be some criminal offenses maybe going to be charged to him.
He showed a 7-year-old The Exorcist.
Yes. And District 9. I've not seen District 9, but it's a horror movie.
You actually have. And
have
that's
I?
What's sad.
Oh. I don't remember District 9. So,
yeah, he's a dirty piece of crap.
Isn't that awful?
I mean, it's awful just because anything like that.
Crazy. It's amazing what people think they can get away with. I don't know.
I mean, he's in Amsterdam, though.
All right.
You know he's high.
So, speaking of high, let's move on to this last story. Good segue. So, this is about an artist who uses an unusual medium to create her art. Another rancher that has given life to art by using cow placentas. You can use the whole part of the cow to make art, apparently. So her name's Emil Matson, and she was inspired to use the unusual medium when she was helping one of her cows one day give birth, and she slung the placenta over a light at the edge of the stall. Now they were helping the cow because she was having trouble, and when she looked over, she said that when the light was behind the cow placenta, that it looked just like stained glass. Now she was already an artist, did some painting and things like that, so she began to experiment and started preserving the placentas.
Experiment.
Yeah, with the preservation of the placentas. And she started using them, and now one of her better pieces that she has is, she calls it the treasure box. It looks like a coffin. It's just a big metal box, and it has cow placentas stretched in between the metal frame, and she put lights inside, so it's all lit up, and it looks like a stained glass box. And it is currently being shown at the Dawson Creek Cannabis Company store. So when people go in there to buy their marijuana, this is from British Columbia, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. When people go to buy their marijuana, they get to see the piece of art, the cow placenta piece of art. They said some people think it's really interesting. Some people are like, that's disgusting, and they run from it. But she's really happy of it. She's really happy with her artwork. It's very, very interesting.
She calls it her treasure box?
That one particular piece of artwork, the coffin-shaped box.
It sounds like something that,
the treasure box.
Something that you tell your girls to call their woo-woo.
Well, it's art. I don't know. I don't understand art sometimes. Cow placentas. Apparently, if you dry
stained glass.
Yeah, if you dry them and stretch them and put a light behind them, they look like stained glass. There's like interesting colors and patterns. Ugh.
I'm beginning to wonder about you.
I'm not the one doing it.
Yeah, you're the one pulling the stories on.
Clearly, having a cow ranch or farm is very inspiring to artists. There are a lot of artists / cow ranchers.
Cow ranchers.
Cattle ranchers.
Having one of those cow ranches, I hired a bunch of cattle boys. Mm-hmm. And that's why today is strange.